Richter trying to scoot in there alone. It pinballs to the crease.
Let's get it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
You're listening to the Street Bullies podcast with your hosts, Derek.
How you gonna get it, Bobby?
John. Matt Casey.
Unnecessary, but totally necessary.
And Cody.
What's not to love?
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Street Bullies. My name's Derek.
And I am John. What's going on, everybody? I'm John.
What was that?
my larynx shut off for a second there. I'm John.
While John goes through puberty here, we'll introduce Matt Casey.
Good evening, everyone. How we doing?
Just lovely. Another
Living the
fine
dream.
week of Flyers hockey to talk about. A bunch of interesting little tidbits that we're going to get to this week. Got some discussion here about Keith Yandle and his Ironman streak that everybody is just clamoring about. I can't wait until he breaks it.
The press is lining up for that one.
Right? Yeah. Get your silver hockey stick and get out. But anyways,
Is that what
then
they
we got-
get? A silver hockey
Probably.
stick? Oh.
I don't know.
Like,
Maybe it's gold.
Like the gold watch when you retire from the police force or something?
Right.
Wouldn't be bad. Would not be a bad idea. Some Sean Couturier news, some Ryan Ellis news as well we'll get to here. First, we want to touch on a couple of the games, general observations from last week. As you can see in the ticker below, the Flyers didn't do so well this past week. They made it out with 3 points out of a possible 6. Okay, not really impressed, not really completely disappointed. John, what are your major takeaways from those games?
This team really isn't that good. I'll go as far as back to the 7-game point streak, right? I mean, Casey, I really think you said it perfectly when we had our little preview, right? It was survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
They never once looked like a team that was good, like that could dominate play. When you watch these great teams like Tampa Bay or even maybe the Bostons of the world, Colorado's, you watch this team play and you're like, oh, wow. Like this is a winning brand of hockey. Never once am I seeing it with this Flyers team. Yes, they got the win against Seattle. Barely.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have won. They bring it to overtime against San Jose in a game that probably shouldn't have gone to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And the ironic thing is the game against LA might have been their best game.
I made it up about half of that game, and then I called it quits. I was like, screw this. I'm done.
Right. But it's just, to me, if you were to talk about like their contention to the postseason, whether they're pretenders or contenders, like this team is a pretender. There's just no way this team is any good.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. Well, what's your take on this, Matt Casey?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's been a disappointing week, to say the least. Now, with that said, I don't think we can label this road trip quite yet until tomorrow night, which is the Anaheim. Because if we end up going 2-1-1 on this traditionally dreaded road trip, I think fans, for the most part, would be like, okay. But with that said, I do get John's point in that the process, I know that's so cheesy, but the process and the way we have played has not improved one bit. And even when we were playing, even when we were getting points, the team still wasn't necessarily playing well. And this fan base still bitched and moaned that, it's against it's against New Jersey. Of course we should get points. Points are points, man. So I don't know. I feel like tomorrow night's going to be a big night in there, but the team's just it just feels uninspired. And, looking at, a team, I don't think we've seen this Flyers team play a really good, solid game in like a month and a half. And so it's getting pretty frustrating, but hey, forever the optimist. We'll see what happens tomorrow night.
Sure. I mean, we want to talk about, things affecting this team too. I mean, Couturier was out. We had Carter Hart was out on his COVID protocol. Broussard's out. Lawton's out. Like, it sucks. Don't get me wrong, but that's not an excuse for this team to come out and play piss poor hockey.
Right.
These guys should be able to step up and step into the lineup and deliver. And it hasn't happened. The game against Seattle should have won that game. First time we played them, we beat them 6-1. No excuse to drag that out, especially into overtime. The game against what was it? I can't read. San Jose. Okay, San Jose's a decent enough team. Okay, overtime loss, sure, whatever. Game against LA, while they looked good, they lost by 3 goals. The fact remains they lost, and that kind of was like the gut punch. And now we got to see how they answer against Anaheim on Tuesday night. So, not a completely unsuccessful road trip, to your point, Matt, but not the best.
I know it's probably like, people are like, oh, without the goalies, we wouldn't be here. I thought Martin Jones looked like absolute crap against LA. I mean, you can't let in a wraparound goal to the far side with 12 seconds into the game. Like,
that was so bad.
So I don't know. That really frustrated me, and I know we'll get into goalie stuff in a little bit, but that was pretty disheartening.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, we talk about all that this team's going through, and I totally get that. And of course that's going to affect this team, but like every other team is going through something like this, and maybe they're not the best team on the ice, but they don't even look like they're on another team's level. Like the other teams are just skating around them, completely controlling play. I mean, like you said, Casey, it's uninspiring. I look at this road trip, or back to this 7-game point streak, and just go, okay, you have one of those games, like the Ottawa game, like the Seattle game, like San Jose, Montreal. You're like, okay, fine, that could still be a good team. But the fact that we had to gain points ugly in all of those contests, just big picture, is kind of concerning to me.
I'm just tired. I'm falling into this myself now. Is like every game I'm like, oh, here's an excuse. It's like, oh, we're missing these guys. Oh, our starting center and our number one goalie, they're on COVID. It's like, yes, those are realities. Oh, we got in late from into a flight in San Jose. It's a reality. It sucks. But every game I'm like, oh, here's another excuse.
There's always something, right?
At some point, like, I don't know what we're making excuses for, because like we haven't seen this team, even in ideal situations, like play to a standard that is going to make them excite a fan base, nonetheless try to make our run at even making the playoffs.
At what point are these excuses, though, going to become, like, now we know obviously they've basically become the norm. Like, when is it unacceptable? Like, completely unacceptable. And when do the players first and foremost realize that every single team goes through this? Because it's the same story every single time. Well, we called a bad break on that one. Tough road trip. We had guys missing. Like, when does that stop? Like, this is more of a generalized question than anything, because it's just everybody goes through it, man. Like, I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh, we just didn't come out, ready to play tonight. Oh, we just didn't do this. We didn't do that. We caught a tough break. No, like, when are you going to come out and tell, okay, we're unprepared and we need to do something about it? There needs to be a plan of action.
And that's what, I look at, not to harp back on that. You get scored 12 seconds in and you have a slow first period. That means that you are not prepared to play the game.
Right.
And that is on the players. I have a hard time putting that on the coaches per se. Like, I don't think what they put on the whiteboard changes any, from 2 hours ahead of the game versus, 20 minutes ahead of the game. But if you're a player in there, there's just, the lack of inspiration overall, lack of energy. And I'm not mailing it in yet. I want to be clear there. Like, I actually think that if he's going to start to turn this around, I think it really does have to start this week. I'm not saying he will, but if it is going to happen and we are going to see improvement in this team and them buying into their system, us actually getting players back for once instead of losing players, like, I think this is the week where it's got to start happening. And then all of a sudden you're looking at some head-to-head matchups in the next couple of weeks, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Columbus,
New York.
New York. Yeah. Like, we have head-to-head divisional matchups here. And so I think this is the week. If it's going to turn around, this has got to be it.
Now I'll pose this to you guys real quick, and we don't need to go too far in depth about it, but Martin Jones, this past week, just sub 900 save percentage just in those 2 games. At what point, and if he continues this type of play, do you think it's fair that we start looking maybe to see if Felix Sandstrom is a capable backup to Carter Hart this year?
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea, but I feel like the Flyers can't make that decision unless they're really set on moving on from Martin Jones. I feel like that completely just shuts his confidence off, but it's like, what, all of a sudden, fine, we're just going to give this rookie a shot. We gave you a chance and it's not working out. So I do think it's something that they'd have to really commit to, be like, okay, you know what? Jones really isn't our answer at backup. Sandstrom gave us some promise. Let's see if he can do it. But I think it would have to be something that they need to stick with.
Oh, for sure. What do you think, Matt Casey?
Yeah, I think the game that Sandstrom played the other night, he gave us a lot to think about, and it's a small sample size, which is the reality of it. Like any goalie can have a really, really solid outing on any single night. Any goalie can get absolutely shelled the next night. And I think if you look at some of the early games from Martin Jones, we were like, oh, what a steal this guy is. And, I think it's a product of his environment. I also think that Jones, I don't know. I was hoping he would really step up, and I guess he did in Seattle. That was he was in the shooting gallery there against a bad team, which is pretty disheartening. But I don't know. I feel like if you have another opportunity to bring Sandstrom up, I'm very intrigued. I don't think Chuck is going to be nervous about it, and clearly Yo's not going to be nervous about putting him in. And I think by the end of the year, or at least somewhere towards the end of the year, you should try to get a larger sample size of Sandstrom just to see, because I think Jones is only a 1-year contract.
It is.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see what we have here. And I think it'd be tough for us to keep Jones one way or the other. But,
sure.
If an internal option's there, great.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and if I could just add 2 quick things, Derek. I think with Martin Jones, the problem is it's like there's never a happy medium. He's either standing on his head or forgets how to goaltend. There's never just he made it through kind of game. Maybe he lets in 1 or 2, but it's either full blown just
he's bipolar, yeah.
Right. But to kind of piggyback off of the giving Sandstrom a bigger sample size, wouldn't it be great if they didn't need to go and get another veteran next year? Right. Yeah. I mean, we have all these goalie prospects that we keep talking about who's going to be the backup to Carter Hart. It would be fantastic if he could step into that role.
Oh,
I agree. Yeah. And we
would save him some money.
We keep on complaining of oh, how come we don't have any homegrown talent? It's okay, this is the homegrown talent that we're hoping to actually get. And isn't he 24, 25? He's not a
right. Yeah, he's a little bit older. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's up there in age for a quote unquote prospect. I don't know if I'd consider him a prospect at this point. He's been with the Flyers organization for a while. He just played SHL, I believe. Spent a lot of his time there before he made the jump. Battled it out with Ustamenko last year and the year before, I believe. Got a lot of the Reading starts because Ustamenko kind of outperformed him.
Yeah, I mean, and he struggled too. He really struggled to transition to the North American ice.
Yeah, which, I mean, hey, goalies do. Normal forwards and defensemen, skaters do. It happens. Right. But, he had a great outing, faced the most shots of any Flyers rookie goaltender ever, and stopped all but 3 of the 46 shots. So
wouldn't it be nice if maybe the team played in front of him?
That's what I was hoping.
Jesus Christ. Welcome to the NHL, buddy.
Here's 46 shots. It would be nice. It absolutely would be nice.
It's a fair point, and just going back to the original conversation of just how I would say it's better than last year, but the team defense is still just not there, and they're just putting so much pressure on these goalies to make 40+ saves a game that it's getting tough.
Oh yeah, but I mean, speaking of the team defense, we want to get to our main conversation. Really, Keith Yandle is coming up soon, very quickly on.
Not quick enough.
You're right. On the Ironman streak. guys, I'm just going to be honest and I'm going to cut right to the chase. Does he deserve the Ironman streak at this point with the way he's playing? I mean, double-edged sword here, but
I mean, listen, anybody who can play that many consecutive games, you really have to tip your cap to. You know, I think the bigger question is, are the Flyers just keeping him in so he can obtain this Ironman streak? And that would be yes. I mean, if he didn't have this going, this guy would have been up in the press box games ago. You know, but as far as like deserving, it's a tough question to answer because you kind of sound like a jerk by saying no. I don't think he's playing like somebody who should be on your every night roster right now, though.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Like, I guess deserving might be a loaded question. Like, does he deserve it based on the fact that he stayed healthy for 930 games? Mm-hmm. Sure. Does he deserve it with his play as of late or as of this season, really? Even spanning into last season. I mean, we all know that Quenneville was going to bench him in the regular season last year. Like, that was a huge thing.
And Quenneville's made a lot of really good decisions.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, but of those decisions that he has made, does this one look as bad as it originally did? Because now, hitting home with us being Flyers fans, analyzing the team, like, was he on to something there? I mean, I hate to give the guy credit, but
yeah, I mean, Yandle's a liability, right? And you know, I've said this sometime. I don't remember if it was on a preview show or whatever, but like the fact that he's
all the time, though. Like, I said this one time, and you know,
but the fact that he's a power play specialist and now he's a liability on what he's supposed to be specializing at, like, there you go. If you needed an answer, there it is. Like the one thing you're good at, you suck at now. So,
yeah, what are you doing here? You know, you're no Yager, man. You can't last that long into a career. But like, my whole thing with this is like, okay, so he breaks it. I think it's January 20th or somewhere around there.
22nd, I don't know. He ties it, and the 24th he surpasses it against Dallas.
Damn it.
Very crucial games too that he's going to be playing.
Buffalo on the 22nd and Dallas.
Oh, I meant like
24th.
You know, from now until
right. Oh, so that's what, like 10 games, 12 games, something like
10
that.
10 games.
I mean, arguably the make or break 10 or 12 games on to figure out where this team's going to go, not just this year, but probably directionally for the next like 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And look, the human side of me is like, oh, it's great. You know, the guy's 3 weeks away. Just let him do it.
You know, he's going to be put on the COVID protocol, like right beforehand, though.
Oh my God.
Like January 20th. It's like,
I can't wait to clip that and just be like, look how much John Gove is laughing about him being on the COVID protocol.
What a jerk.
So I get it. Like, records are nice, but realistically, on the game after Dallas, I'm not going to give 2 SHITS if he is benched. Like, right. And isn't Kessel going to just take it this year?
I think
anyway?
So.
He's 24 games behind him right now.
So, I mean, what are we really doing here? And if it's, I don't know, are we at the point now where we actually have somebody that we can put in there? Because I'm not going to lie, a Sealer-Connaughton combo isn't exactly like pumping me up either. So the only name in my mind that you want to bring up is York right now. And he's obviously with the team on the taxi squad. He's had COVID, apparently, or he was on the COVID protocol list with the Phantom. So, hey, the guy's got immunity out the wazoo. Great. So let him stick around for a little bit. And you know what? If those last 4 games, you got to play 7 defensemen and you bench some, a fourth liner, just do it. Like, at this point, just do it.
Letting him play those games and get that record to me is like running into an ex-girlfriend who's married and then telling your kid, like, I used to date her. Like, because Kessel's going to get the record anyway. So it's like, what's the point? So you can say you were the Iron Man for, 24 games for a month and a half, 2 months. Like, what? I don't know.
You don't want the bad press because, I mean, everybody who doesn't actually follow the Flyers or watch the games is going to be, how dare you bench this guy so close to the Iron Man? Because
the same guys who threw snowballs at Santa, like, bringing everything else up.
Threw snowballs at Santa, batteries, and we ended the Iron Man streak. What a terrible town Oh my
Right.
God. No, Matt Casey hit the nail on the head for me. Like sentimental wise, and from a people perspective, it'd be great. Sure, awesome. From a on ice standpoint, that guy is just a giant detriment to this team right now. Like, can the Flyers afford that? Can the Flyers afford 10 more games of that type of play just to get him this streak?
No.
No, they
So
can't
then
afford
what's the
one more
argument?
game.
They're going to do it anyway.
If this team
Right.
still wants to make the playoffs, what's the argument here then? Like, why? What are the pros and cons?
It truly doesn't matter. This organization has shown that they're committed to at least playing him through his Ironman. Because if they weren't committed to that, he would have been benched games ago.
Mm-hmm.
So trade
You know,
trade him to a team that can play him.
for what?
I don't care. I don't care at this point.
What
I'll
a
take
ninth
Sealer over
round
him.
pick?
Give me what? Is there a supplemental draft in the NHL? Like, I'll take a supplemental pick.
Right, a supplemental pick in the OHL draft.
Yeah. Hey, Desnoyers getting traded to Sault Ste. Marie.
Mm,
You hear about that?
I heard about it.
Or he's supposed to, at least. I don't know if it
Right.
actually went through, but hey, trade him. I don't care. Just get
You
him
want
off
to
the
trade
team.
him to Sault Ste. Marie too?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
If they're still playing in the regular season, does it say NHL? It has to be NHL, or can it be OHL?
Right.
Obviously, stupid question. But
Do you guys see? So let's fast forward 3 weeks from now, and do you see York as the one who's coming in
yes,
to replace him?
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
I think, and the idea of York and Connaughton, I don't hate that. We need some kind of like, I look back last year when York came in, like he did, he was a spark. He did very well.
Mhm.
Zamula, I guess he was more so just surviving, I guess, but like,
Right. He
but
fit
then I
right
look
in.
right. Then I look at somebody, and everybody can roll their eyes, but even when Sam Warren came in last year for 5 games, he was an animal for 5 games.
Right.
He couldn't sustain it. And
That
so
was the shot in the what that this team needed at
Right.
that point.
right.
Right.
And so I think you just need, like, Connaughton and Sealer, like, good for you guys. You're the number 6 defenseman at best, and you're grinding away. You're not gonna like change the complexion of a game or a team. Cam York might not be that, but he's a lot closer than those 2 guys or Keith Yandle at this point.
Mhm. John,
Yeah.
you just I was
Well,
gonna say
I'm-
you got something to say.
I mean, like, if you look at York and Yandle, right? York and Yandle, alliteration. Anyway, so Yandle comes with, a lot of risk, right? He's a liability that you're not really sure what's going to happen, but there's no more upside anymore with that guy, right?
Right.
Like that's it. The guy's cooked. With York, right? There are going to be some bumps in the road. There are probably going to be some Yandle moments when you're like, oh crap, what did he just do? But he's a kid, right?
Right.
He has upside. He could play beyond that. That's not where he's hopefully gonna, wind up long term. So to me, like, there really is no larger risk by then saying, okay, York for Yandle, now you're in there. Let's see what you can do.
And would you rather him go through those growing pains against lesser competition in the AHL, or go against teams that you expect him to play against for the next 10 whatever many years that he's going to be playing in the NHL?
Well, now you bring him up because you really don't have any other option. Like, hey kid, it's kind of like a Morgan Frost situation,
Right.
in that, like, we just don't have a choice. Here you go.
Mhm.
Go nuts.
Do your thing, kid.
Right. Here's
I was-
Kyle Connaughton.
even when Yandle, quote unquote, had a good play, I think it was against San Jose the other night, where like he was being hounded
Seems
in
so
our
long
zone
ago.
by 2 guys, and somehow made it out. And I think that turned into the Frost goal. That was a really good looking goal. But like 75% of the time, Yandle's coughing that puck up. I think he got he got lucky there. So yeah, it's a liability, man. I don't know. I don't envy the front office or the coaching staff right now, because you're gonna look like an asshole doing that.
Right. And they're not going to do it.
I don't think so.
At this point, though, if this team is serious about winning, which they've all led us to believe that they are, personally, I'm willing to take that risk of looking like an a-hole. Like, I am.
Can I say something though? I think that the Chuck Fletcher is serious about winning. It hasn't panned out this year, but this guy has really done everything he can. I'm not convinced that this team, the players, are serious about winning. They never look motivated. So it's like, unless the GM's going to go on there and play all 6 positions, serious about winning is something that I can't associate with the players on this team. And maybe it's not just one player, one individual, but as a collective, they never look like they want to win.
It's too many like introverts, not to get all psychological, but it's like, you look at like Giroux and Couturier and Provorov, like none of those guys are vocal guys. I know that was this year's big thing. Like, hey, we brought in 9 guys who had letters on their sweaters. It was like, okay, like, that
great.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. You're the alternate on away games. Like, good job. But the guy who brought in, who was vocal and supposed to be the guy, is Yandle, who doesn't deserve to be in the lineup. And so I think it's probably like adding fuel to the fire there a little bit.
Now, do you think, and I forget who brought this up, I think it was on Twitter, but do you think that part of the reason why he's, you could say, getting a pass is because he's been like a support, like an emotional support to Kevin Hayes, and you think that might be why he's seeing more time than he really should?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kevin Hayes has enough with his game to worry about. That I don't know if we can dive too deep into that, but I don't know. I guess it doesn't hurt.
He does seem well liked in the locker room, right? I mean, he seems like somebody that the rest of the team probably likes, but I don't give a damn right now who the team likes.
But look at this though, John.
He's such a nice guy.
This is the reality of it. Is like, if Yo decides to bench him, I think you're going to have a locker room sort of mutiny kind of thing with him. And I know he's already walking on eggshells anyway.
Right. But that's pathetic. I understand what you're saying, Casey, in that, but it's like, I'm sorry, players, but you don't have a leg to stand on. Like, play some effing hockey, and maybe I'd give a crap about you being upset. But until you start holding your own, I get that, and that was one of the things I thought about too. But at the end of the day, boo-hoo. Sorry. Play some freaking good hockey, and maybe then I'll give a damn.
It's almost... Go ahead.
The thing I keep thinking about is like, God, how is Ellis only able to be healthy for 4 games of a year, and we can't get Yandle out of the damn lineup? Like, the guy, like, how is this possible?
Oh, it's such a great thing at first. Oh, we've got Keith Yandle, perfect third pairing guy. Look what we wished upon ourselves. Look what we've done.
Wish upon a Yandle.
That was piss poor.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, you bring up a good point with Ellis too. Playing 4 games this season has not been what we've wanted him to be. Now, he's been good in those 4 games. He's got 5 points, but the fact remains, you're looking at a guy who literally just came off COVID protocol, not even being with the team. What is it? His last game was November 13th against Dallas. And before that, it was October 20th against Boston. 4 games, 1 after coming back from injury, presumably and likely rushed back by AV. I don't even know what to make of this entire situation, because then today, Monday, I'm sorry, Mike Yeo comes out and says there's really no progress being made in terms of his injury and the rehab to that injury. He's off COVID protocol, which is great, fantastic. Doesn't impact the roster. What do we make of the fact that he's just not progressing with this injury? And I'm not even going to speculate about the injury itself, but like, isn't that really discouraging to you guys?
Uh-huh.
Yep. No,
I mean, nothing more to say, right?
Go ahead, John. I got to formulate my thoughts there.
Okay, I mean, I think it means that he's not playing this season. How long has it been where we're going week to week, and now it's like, well, there's no improvement. There's no timetable or timeline or whatever it was. I'm really starting to think we're going to get to a point where he's shut down. How long can you go? I mean, and if you can put him on long-term injury reserve, that's LTIR for those of you who just like, what is that? An acronym? Is that what that's
Long-term
called?
injured reserve.
Yeah, there's
LTIR
LTIR. Is that an acronym? Yeah. Okay.
It's an acronym.
I'm not the teacher on this show.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Then at least you could use the money, right? If you really wanted to. I mean, at that point, right? Like, use the money for what? But yeah, I just feel like I'm becoming more and more convinced that this guy's just not playing this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm with you, and it's I don't want to speculate on the injury, as Derek said, but like, how have they not considered surgery? I'm sure they have, but like, how have they not just been like, okay, we need to have surgery on this thing to make it work, and let's shut it down. I think it's got to be incredibly discouraging for him, because he knows, he doesn't listen to us, I'm sure, but we collectively probably represent what most of the fan base and probably most of the organization are thinking. It's like, oh, we traded away 2 guys who aren't panning out anyway, with their new teams, for this guy who's not panning out. Like, what are we really doing here? And so it's discouraging, because he is the linchpin that can just slot everything so much better. And he's not available. And, to Yandle's credit, Yandle's always available. Ryan Ellis is not.
The best kind of ability is availability. Which Ryan Ellis is not. No, I mean, it's got to be incredibly frustrating for him at the very least. It's frustrating for us, obviously, because like you said, he is really the linchpin that would complete those defensive pairings. But at the same rate, with that being said, we're paying this guy $6-something million a year, and he's not healthy. So it's incredibly frustrating from that standpoint, because for something that we've lacked for so long, when Niskanen left, we couldn't fill that void. We tried, and Justin Braun just doesn't cut it on the top pairing. Okay. Well, we're learning that at least again this year. But Ellis was supposed to be the next Niskanen, if you will. And he was supposed to complete that, and he hasn't, because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Injuries were a concern from the get-go. We get that. But now we're really seeing it, and we're really seeing how frustrating it can be. So if it takes shutting the guy down for the rest of the year, if there's a surgery that needs to be done to solve this injury and solve this problem, do it at this point, because we have term. There's term left. Right. We'll burn a year. Okay. It's not ideal, but if we need to do it for the longevity of the nature of things, I'm all for it.
Are there any defensemen even if we have the cap space with him on long-term LTIR, if you will, then who could we even get at this point? There's no trade market whatsoever, and we don't have many assets to give anyway.
Right. I mean, and you need a top pairing defenseman here. I mean, you're not talking about another third pairing guy. Like, you need somebody who could partner with Ivan Provorov, or somebody that you could slot in with Sanheim, and let Ristolainen. But again, we've had that conversation before. I think the biggest reason that they haven't shut him down is because if they do shut him down, then you're cashing it in this season. I really, because I don't know who replaces him, right? If to make this team more competitive, and without him, I mean, this team is not making the playoffs. That defense is too much in shambles to be a playoff team, among other things that's going on.
We've talked about it a couple times now with Morgan Frost being able to be slotted into the lineup in a position to succeed. Do you think the same approach could be taken with Cam York, like we mentioned earlier in the show? Maybe like in a more of a diverse role where you could kind of limit his time on, special teams, but keep him on the top pair with Provorov. He's a top pair guy in Lehigh Valley to my knowledge, and we want him to be a top pair guy. Why not give it a shot? Give it a couple games. Because
Ivan Provorov is not somebody who can anchor a pair.
But we don't have that no matter what. Like, we don't have a guy that can anchor.
I know that, but at least like right now he's with a veteran guy who has a lot of years under his belt. Like, I don't know. with Ivan Provorov, right? I like the player. You know, I think that he's a good defenseman when he's going, but the guy is such a partner dependent defenseman that I really worry about putting a guy like Cam York, who's green. Yeah, not like literally, but you know,
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, you're welcome. Up there with him, because I just don't see it going well.
It's not necessarily a Grinch, but
I think the only internal scenario that works is you have to bump Ristolainen up to play with Provorov, and then you slot York in with Sanheim. Like I think that's what would intriguing, I suppose. I think it's probably better than what we have now.
Right, it's the best option available.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
No, with the way Sanheim and Ristolainen are playing together, though, I think that's probably the last route that they'd like to take, because that pairing has 100%. Been their best pairing so far. But this way, honestly, I think this is where we could really find out just how good Sanheim has been this year. Everybody wants to tout, you know, he's the Flyers' best defenseman. Like, okay, put him with the guy coming up then.
Right.
Let's see if he actually is the best defenseman that the Flyers have currently. Because if he is, he should be able to, A, make up for the few deficiencies that Cam York might have in his game, and B, he should be able to support York to a point where he can maybe not thrive, but be a successful NHL defenseman for his first real major stint of NHL games.
Right. No, I agree with that. And what I don't want to see is Connaughton and York together. Like, I just don't think that's going to bode well. In an ideal scenario, I want York with Braun, actually. Like, I think that would be like the most stable one to put in there.
So I was curious about defensemen who are available via trade. So I looked up the TSN trade bait, because that thing's pretty accurate. And they just came out with their first one of the year. It was December 8th. Ben Sherratt from Montreal is on the top of the list. Lefty. Then Mark Giordano, which, I mean, from Seattle rental, I would love him. I think he would be a great person to have on this team. I just don't think, we're not proving to be in a Stanley Cup contention, and that's where he'll likely go. Nick Leddy from Detroit, and that's it as far as defensemen on the top 10.
I mean, Sherratt was a pain in the ass to play against. 2 years ago, and so I don't know. I'd be interested to see what that was about. But another lefty defenseman. At some point, somebody just play the offside, for God's sakes.
Right.
No, I mean, any lasting thoughts on what's going on with Ryan Ellis, guys?
Sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
Roll the dice, lost.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, considering, well, if you want to get technical, Nolan Patrick has 1 goal in 6 games, supposed to be coming back this Friday. I was reading up on that situation. He was in a red no contact jersey on Sunday.
I thought you meant to Philadelphia.
Oh God, no. Keep him away. But no, not Nolan Patrick. Jesus, we just talked about him. Phil Myers, 12 games, no points, averaging like 15 minutes on ice. So, I mean, given the amount of games that Ellis has missed, like, sure, that sucks, but we've gotten more points out of him than those two combined.
And again, like you said, Derek, if he can get this fixed, right, and it's like, all right, we burn a year of his contract, but next year he's better, we're still winning this trade,
right?
His potential alone surpasses those two.
Yep.
Does it hurt us though? Like, we know how this season has panned out. Our center depth was terrible. Injuries to center, COVID protocols. If Nolan Patrick remains a Flyer and Ellis isn't, and we still have Phil Myers, we have another center to play with.
Shut up.
No.
Hey,
no.
Devil's advocate. I'm just saying.
Pass the puck. Woo.
It's a warm body.
Yeah, barely. He just said he's in a red contact jersey.
No contact jersey.
No
first
contact.
Get it right.
Whatever. I don't know. Was this football?
It is clearly not football.
All right. What's the next topic we're going to discuss here, my friend?
The next topic is a center on the Flyers, Sean Couturier. It's been some interesting, really an interesting turn of events. I'm not sure how else to describe it. It looks like, let's see here, he's placed on COVID protocol back on the 21st of December, taken off of COVID protocol on the 30th, but went straight to the IR. For those of you that don't know what an acronym is, that's injured reserve. And he's currently on the injured reserve, aka the IR, aka is also known as. It's another acronym for you, John.
Thank you. I know what acronyms are. I just couldn't think of the word. Yeah, egg.
What is that, an acronym for something?
I mean, if you give me enough time to think of one, I'm sure I can come up with
Well,
something.
before you come up with something stupid here, we go. So he's on IR right now. Fletcher has come out and said that he's dealing with some nagging injuries. We all suspected that. So I'm glad in that respect that, he's taking some time off to recover from those nagging injuries. But at the same rate, you could say we kind of needed him because of, again, we mentioned the center depth. Would it have been smart to just start the season off and let him kind of take the time to recoup? I mean, if that was in fact when he was still dealing with those nagging injuries, I mean, what are we supposed to make of all of this? Essentially, is what I'm trying to ask here.
I think he knows himself, and that sounds a little like cheesy, but like he knows himself.
I know me.
My biggest enemy is me. But he knows when he can go and when he can't. So you have to assume that if he is saying, I can't go right now, that it's got to be pretty bad. And, I'm sure the COVID thing probably sparked it. And they're like, all right, let's just shut him down for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And hopefully it's that. But I mean, I don't know, that's a little bit concerning. He hasn't been himself all year. No. And it's noticeable. You see glimpses maybe once every 3 games. But he is right now a guy we're paying a good amount of money for, who is at best a third line center, the way he's playing right now. And that's tough to say because we know he's a lot better than that. So this is just enough. I mean, I've never, in my time following this team, I've never seen a rash of injuries starting from even before the season even started happen like this. And this is just another kind of kick in the nuts that has us here.
Mm-hmm. All right, John.
I mean, listen, I think you enter a really, I don't know, iffy world when you start talking about injuries and how they're handled, because we truly don't know anything of what happens behind the scenes, right? But it wouldn't shock me if this is another case of potentially an injury being mismanaged by the organization, right? I mean, I think we can all, with some confidence, conclude that Ryan Ellis's injury was mismanaged. You might even, Kevin Hayes. Would you say that maybe he came back? Right? Didn't he play a few games and then have to go back?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if this was a mismanaged injury, but we'll never know, right? But clearly this guy was hurt. Now he's got to rest. And like you said, Casey, we've just been plagued with injuries. I mean, the 2 defensemen the 2 defensemen that we traded for this offseason who were supposed to make a major difference couldn't even play opening night. Like, at that point, we should have just mailed in the year.
Yeah,
it was a sign.
Sign from the hockey gods. It's just been, injuries have been like the story of this team. And I mean, you want to include protocol and all that stuff. It sucks. But again, we get back to our first point, like no excuses. Like this is an opportunity for somebody else to step up and prove their worth. So, with Couturier out, it hurts us and it's a gash because we need centers right now. Brassard is coming off protocol, so that's good. Hayes is still healthy. Morgan Frost and Claude Giroux both can play center. Ideally not. Lawton as well. He's back off. And, just to throw it in there, Carter Hart's back off protocol as well. So we're hoping, A, he's okay, and B,
that's positive news,
soon.
Guys. That's the first bit of good news we've had in a while.
So actually, it's a negative test, but 2 negative tests, I think. But regardless, it's good news. It's just, man. I'm glad Couturier is taking the time to heal up. I just hope it's not a long time. Team can't afford it if they still have hopes to try to salvage what's left of this season.
And like on paper, having Claude Drew, Kevin Hayes, Morgan Frost, and Scott Lawton as options down the middle is not a bad thing.
No,
And there still is some wing depth to play with there where it's like, you can survive. Like, but again, this team just has to play like they want to survive.
I also think they need to play like within a system just so much better. Like right now, it looks like everybody threw their sticks in the middle, and the coach threw them to one side or the other, and that's how they're making lines up. Like just nobody, there's no chemistry whatsoever. And look, like this is the reality. Like Sean's gone at least another week, I think. And who knows what it is beyond that, but. This is the reality of this team right now. And Giroux, everybody wanted him to play wing, but he's a damn good faceoff guy. And he just, now he has the defensive responsibilities to get down low and get back up the ice. So, it's going to be a lot on him. Hayes very clearly is still not the Kevin Hayes that we saw 2 years ago. Guy has like elephant tusks, on his legs right now. And so, it's not ideal, but, with Brassard, he's not playing tomorrow night, but with Brassard presumably coming back in the next couple games, with Lawton back, okay, things are starting to build back up. But can this team actually use this talent within a system to beat teams that are superior to them from a skill standpoint right now?
For sure.
Oh, we're going to find out real quick. I mean, we've got Pittsburgh Thursday night. Was it Saturday?
Anaheim.
Anaheim's a good team, yeah. Who do we have Saturday night?
But
I couldn't tell you right off the
Carolina.
I don't think it's Carolina.
No.
Is it?
No, it's San Jose again, I think.
Oh, that's right. It is San Jose. So a team that the Flyers
Do you
can
know the
beat?
way to San Jose?
Took them to overtime. So we'll see. Easily winnable games. I think it doesn't matter.
It's in our house.
Yeah, this time it's in Philadelphia.
Be scared. If I have to hear one more thing about the damn traffic on Saturday because the Eagles are playing at the same time, it's like, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Good God.
Eagles and Cowboys, baby. Oh, it's going to be a fun one. I don't know if the Cowboys really have anything to play for. I mean, they're locked in that 4 seed.
That whole lot is huge. Like, that thing's enormous.
Right. I mean, and you're not going to.
It's the second time this year. It's the second time this year that they played on the same nights. Like, who cares?
The Flyers ended up not playing that game.
SEPTA.
It's a mulligan.
And throw on the Philadelphia Wings game on top of that in the afternoon. It's going to be mayhem.
Oh, my God. You might as well play a winter game for the Phillies, too. Who gives a shit?
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. Are there any minor league teams that could play, too?
Can we get the diamond for a Pod Street Bullies charity softball game?
Right. Oh, I'd like to come out of retirement for that. That'd be fun. Oh, no, I mean, really, I don't even know what else to say. We're just.
I do like that line with Frost, Konechny, and Lindblom. I'd like for Konechny to start scoring some goals, but there's another positive. They look pretty good.
I'd like for Konechny to just keep assisting because there's still goals happening. I don't care who the hell scores them.
And shut his goddamn mouth would be nice too.
Like, play the game. Just play the game. I don't care about your stupid buck teeth memes and all that BS. Play the damn game. Like, score some goals, assist on some goals, put something in the back of the net.
I think you're seeing Oscar really finally step up over the last 2 weeks too, which has been good to see. And that's an odd combination in there. And so, it's intriguing to at least get one line with some chemistry, tack that onto our power fourth line, and it's just the top half of our forwards that aren't delivering.
Wasn't Hayes, Konechny, and Lindblom a line in the past as well? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, this is Frost. Frost.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I'm sure it was, but that has nothing to do with it. What about Max Willman on line too? You're struggling for bodies when
it's like the Tahoe game all over again. It's like this guy has NHL experience, 3 games.
Pascal Gersh, give him some power play time. Who cares?
I'm starting to think that Max Wellman is like Yo's Van de Velde.
Oh God, don't no. We're not going there. We are not revisiting those years.
Who Chris Van de Velde? Who are you talking about? Who's
was that his name?
Yeah,
Vince
Chris Van de Velde.
Like
where did you come up with Vince?
Alliteration.
Oh,
Vince Van de Velde.
Another one of those fancy words like acronym.
He's a modern day Daryl Powell.
A modern day Daryl Powell.
The comp with him is Daryl Powell.
Whatever happened to Blair Betts?
Blair Betts is a great one.
I can't remember.
Alliteration. Blair
You stole the words right out of my mouth.
I don't know if it is alliteration though. Would it need to be Blair Bletz?
No, because it's the same letter.
Just kidding you. All right.
You're a dick.
Anyway.
Anyways, no. We had another.
Do you not
point
like
we
the
were
way
gonna
this
touch on.
conversation is going, Casey?
The direction it's headed is really, yeah. Never mind. We had another point that we wanted to get to. We're already 50 minutes in. There's really no point. Hoagie's not here for a dad joke. You guys are in luck, though, because
God,
I've got an entire book right here of dad jokes that I'm not going to use.
is that Matt Casey on the cover of that thing?
I think it is.
Let me see.
If you can...
I would never wear sunglasses like that, and I could never grow a mustache.
They're actually coffee mugs, and they're made up of coffee beans.
Never mind, I can pull that off.
Right? Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not going to take Hoagie's shtick. We'll just have him read 2 next week to piss you off, John.
Okay.
You made the face.
Book. It's like you flaunt the book, and then you're
Well,
like, oh no, never mind.
Right then.
Just
look
put
at
one out.
Look at all this beer I have here. We're not going to drink it.
All right. Let's see here. I had one that I liked.
No, I made that up. I
Damn.
completely made that up. It's getting weird on the pod.
I had a good one. Okay.
We have our Catholic versus convict shirts on tonight.
I know.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, guess
and
whose team shit the bed
plain gray.
last? Mine.
Mine too. Penn State lost.
Oh, dude, good God.
Yeah.
We
All right.
all right, go.
A
Yeah,
chicken
we're not a
coop only
college
had-
football.
All right,
Go.
a chicken coop only has 2 doors. If it had 4, it would be a chicken sedan.
Okay. All right.
Not bad, right? It was
Great.
all right.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was good. Suck it, Hoagie. I got John to chuckle.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it for us then. Matt, Casey, please let the lovely listeners and 0 viewers know where they can find you.
Pod Street Casey, Casey on Twitter.
MOUSE Casey.
Do you spell it out because it's an acronym? Like, does Casey stand for something?
It stands for morality. It stands for hard work. I can't even tell you.
Cool, shifty, easy, yo.
Oh God,
John, just do your thing. God damn it.
You can find this podcast on all your various podcast listening receptacles, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Spreaker, D's Nuts, also known as Deezer, YouTube, and other ones that I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find it. And let me know if there's any good names out there. I always like the Deezers of the world are fun. There was another one out there, Derek, for a while that we were on. I can't remember what it was called, and it's not like a joke one, but I really enjoyed saying that one. Do you remember what it was?
We were on a variety.
It was like one I've never heard of that 4 people probably use. It probably went out of
I
business.
have no idea.
All right. Anyway,
We used to be on like Castbox and
maybe that was, I don't know.
maybe no. That's not. There's nothing fun about that.
There's
There's
no-
just
there's
fun
nothing.
words.
Player FM.
There you go.
Right.
No.
We're not on the Sirius XM app though. We're not there.
That's
No.
all right.
One day.
Rate and review us, please.
Yes, I was just about to add, please visit Apple Podcasts. You can actually rate us on Spotify now, which is great. We have a 5-star review, unlike Apple, because of a certain group of dipshits. Regardless, yeah. No, I wasn't going to say it, but there it is. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, though. Leave a lovely review. This dates back to like 2 months ago. I'm waiting on like a really nasty one with 5 stars. That'd be pretty neat. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Pod Street Bob. John's on Twitter at Pod Street Gove. You can find all 4 of us, including Hoagie, who is not here tonight. Good luck in men's
Suck
league,
it,
schmuck.
Hoagie.
All of us are on Twitter at Pod ST Bullies. And folks, that's
Our
it.
affiliates. Our affiliates.
Our
Oh,
affiliates,
that
yes.
part.
Thank you for bringing that up. I am just the most inconsiderate douchebag of us all.
Yep.
Flyers High and Wide, our affiliates over there. Check those guys out at Flyers HW. You can find Jim, Johnny, Kyle, Jack,
There's a lot of
Anthony as well.
You don't need to list all
Yeah,
the names,
there's a lot of
buddy.
them.
Just give a
a
shout
lot
out
of
to
them.
the brand. Come on.
5 Minute Major Pod as well at 5 Min Major Pod, I believe. I'll look it up. Dave and Mastro, great guys. But yeah, that one's a little easier because there's only 2 guys. So
Nice
I'll go in depth
wives,
about that.
great pets.
Great people. The greatest people ever. Greatest I've ever met. But yes, check those guys out. And then until next week, folks, we will see you. That's that.
Bye now.
Oh, you jerkwad. I cannot believe you just did that.